comes
Yeah.
in.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Your mics are unmuted if you want to talk to us, as far as I know. Tracy? We didn't unmute the mic. So.
Hi.
Hi there,
Hi,
everybody.
good afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Afternoon.
Okay. It's good to see the faces again. How's it, Heather? Dawn? Is it Kubeshni? Hi, Kubeshni. If I haven't mentioned your name, it's not because I'm being rude. It's just like there's too many of you, which is like really cool. How's it, folks? This is the May edition of the Alumni Webinar Series. We're going to give people a few more minutes to come in. We're sitting at, people are coming in as we speak, which is rather nice. Today, we're talking about unlock your sales potential. We're talking about time management, right? Because sales is a wonderful profession, isn't it? If you use your time well, you do really, really well. If you use your time badly, then earlier, then it's not so. Then you're not so healthy anymore. Okay. How are we doing? We've got two. I'm going to give it another minute or so, folks. We're up to 14 people in. Let's see who's coming in. Hi, Estiani. Did I say hello to you, Estiani? I think I did. Is it Jackie? Jackie Netsianda. How's it?
Well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, ma'am. Oh, it's good to know the mics are all working. That's cool. Alrighty then. One of the things I wanted to start off with is to remind everybody about why we do this thing, right? And the reason we do this is because we made a promise to you all when you did the training with us. We said you're now part of the Sales Institute family. And that's the primary reason why we run alumni. Okay, it's to remind everybody that's been through our training that we're out there and we're available to you for you to ask us questions at any time, give us ideas or talk to us. The second reason that we do it is because we want to give something back. We want to give you guys some value. And obviously, you know Tim, the professor, right? And Tracy, who's the visualizer, and me to a great lesser extent. We're students of sales. So we're doing research all the time. And a good way to test our research and effectiveness of our research is to present it to you guys. And that's what it's about. So please feel free to invite your friends, your colleagues, your family members, if they're in the sales environment, to come and join us. It's also a way to test new ideas, okay, or to give you an insight to some of the courses that we offer that maybe you haven't thought about. And I want to extend the invitation to you again and remind you all that Tracy and I are here absolutely to talk to you about where you're going, where you want to go. And it doesn't necessarily need to relate to a sales training course that the Sales Institute offers. I know that there were periods in my life when I was unsure about what my next step was going to be. And you can step up, you can give us a shout, have a chat with us one-on-one. We'll talk to you about what you could do next. So please make use of that opportunity. That said, let's introduce Tracy. If you haven't met Tracy before, she's known as our visualizer. She's got the unique ability to make complex concepts easy to understand, normally in the form of a picture or a diagram. Tracy is passionate about helping salespeople reach their full potential because she's so good at building effective systems, you always leave her workshops knowing how to implement what you've learned. And that I can endorse wholeheartedly. So without any further ado, Tracy, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, it's great, and it's a bit of a chilly day today, so I hope you're all nice and warm and have your cup of coffee. What I'd like to encourage is if there's anything, please just put up your hand and we can chat. We're a smallish group, and you know, please ask. You can stop and ask questions as well. Or right at the end, we can ask some questions. I think this is such an important one, and we have run this course, and I'm just seeing one or two from that training in this. But time management is such an important thing. And I mean, I was just saying to Jean just before we started, I cannot believe we're sitting in May already. We're nearly the end of May. And it's quite scary how time is going. So I want to just start with this whole, you know, I think this is something we often have said as well, is where has the time gone? And it feels like this mystical time's become this mystical thing where it's just disappearing. And we ask ourselves, where has it gone? And so I want to look at why, why are we feeling that? And the way time is just, it feels like it's sped up to such a great extent. The other saying that we often use is, time is just flying. How time flies. Okay, I mean, it's a bit difficult for time to fly, but there's just some of this stuff, and we get to the end of the day and we think, "Yo, can't believe it's the end of the day again." So this is why this time, I'm going to just show you some strategies, please. This is not a course where I'm going to say, take your to-do list and, all that type of thing, because that's not really where we're heading here. This is really to how can we be effective with the time that we've actually got. So if time flies, the good news is that we are the pilots, and we are the ones that are there to make every minute, every part of our time count. But I think we get so wrapped up in the day, and this is something that I want to also just show, and something I've had to learn, and Jean will know that because I play so many roles within the business. I'm playing an operational role, I'm playing a training role, we're developing material all the time. This type of thing as well. A lot of what I've learned here has been ouch moments for me to say, sure, this is how I could better manage my time. So I'm hoping that some of the things that I've learned in this, that is going to help you a little bit better as well. And also, we all only have 1,440 minutes in a day. Now, the thing about the successful people is how they manage those minutes. And I think that's the important thing. It's about how are we managing our time effectively. And I'm hoping that some of these tips are going to help you. All right, so, and this is so important. It's not really about accomplishing more in less time, because I think that's what we hope for. How can we just get more done in less time? It's actually about focusing on the most important tasks. Now, one thing that I really learned within this, and what really was my aha moment, was this next section, is the value of my time. And I'm going to just in chat, I'm going to put a link that you can do after this training. But it says then, this was something that stood out to me. It was, live like you're worth the value of your time. Now, it's a bit, it's a bit of a confusing quote. Sorry, Bevan, I think it's your mic that's on. There's just a bit of feedback coming through from it. You could just mute, please. Is it Bevan or no, not Bevan, Bernice. Sorry, not, is it Bernice? Somebody's mic is on here. I'm just getting a bit of feedback. And this saying, thank you. Sorry, I was just getting some feedback there. And then this is what this live like you're worth the value of your time, to me, was such a take home, because sometimes we do not get how valuable our time actually is. And what I want to do, I'm going to just put in the chat, Sam, I didn't mean for them to drop off. I'm going to just put a link that I'm going to work with now. And it's a free link. It's a free link. And what we're going to do, and you can do this afterwards, but we're going to calculate the actual worth of our time. So if you look here, you can see when you come up, when you actually click on that, I hope everybody can see it. It might take a little bit of time for it to come through. But what we're going to do is if you click on it, it'll bring up a screen. And as I say, it's a free site. You just work to about the middle of the page, and you click on this site. I'll put it on again for those people. There's some people have just joined us now. But what you do is you're going to put your annual salary. Now, you can just put the basic if you're earning commission, etc. But you're going to just put what is your basic salary before taxes. Okay, so not what you just take home, before your taxes. You're going to put how much time are you spending working. Now this one, normally it's supposed to be a 40-hour. I don't think most of us work those. I think we work a lot more, and we're working weekends and evenings. So I want you to roughly get an idea of what is it, or how many hours you are spending working in a day, or sorry, in a week, and then how many average hours are you getting sleep a night? And what it'll do is it'll actually calculate exactly. Don't worry about the dollars, but it'll go into rand. You just take it over to rands. I wish it was that per hour in dollars. But what you do is you get to a point where it'll show you what your personal time is valued at and what your work time is valued. Now, this was a bit of an aha moment for me, in that you start realizing, you know what, every hour is actually worth something. So sometimes we just go with the flow, and we just work all these hours, but we realize that actually, you know what, my time is worth something. The other aha moment was personal time. So maybe on a weekend. Now, you'll see just now, we're going to talk about what are those things that are really important to you. Now, when I am looking at personal time, and I'm looking at my family time, etc., if I'm spending a lot of time just even on social media and all these things, it calculates what's that value of the time. Now, when we look at it, if I've spent like maybe 5 hours or whatever on social media, and I mean, there are ways you can actually look at how much time you're spending on these things, then what you start looking at is, was that a good usage of my time? And the value of it then makes me realize, oh dear, the value of, I've just wasted. And if it was good and I'm writing material, doing that's different. But if I'm just wasting time and I'm just looking at clip after clip and that type of thing, and TikTok, etc., how much time am I wasting? And it's not going to the valuable stuff. So that was quite an interesting thing. The other thing that was quite interesting is my personal time weekly. Because if we are honest with ourselves, a lot of the time we're spending so much time work-wise, we're working weekends, evenings, etc. And if you have to put the proper times there, it has a bit of an aha moment of how much time is actually being spent in actual personal time versus just work. Okay, so that is just something I'd like. I just challenge you to do it, and it'll be quite an interesting thing for you to look at. What is that value, and am I spending my time well? Okay, so that's the question I want to leave with you is, if you look at the value of your time, are you spending it wisely? Okay, so that is what I also just want you to think about as we move forward. So when I'm looking at value, I'm looking at matching it with investment and return. Okay, because remember, if we're in sales, our time is incredibly valuable. Well, everybody's time is valuable, but what I mean by that is what I'm doing, my tasks, etc., do they match that return I am getting? Now, in the course that we actually do on time management, I take this a lot further. I'm just giving you the snippets of what we work with. So looking at the investment and your return, number one, we need to observe, how are we currently using our time? That is really, really important, because maybe that's where those moments, and this is where I've had to challenge myself as well, because I tend to, always, my laptop seems to always be on my lap. And with the remote working, that we're working from home so much as well, we tend to spend so much time, and we're not cutting off for those times of building into ourselves and into our families, etc. Okay, assess your personal productivity trends, something we go to within the course, and looking at, when am I the most productive within a day? Is it mornings? Is it evenings? Is it afternoons? Where am I the most productive? And making sure I use that time effectively. I'm not the best in the morning. Tim and I often will have meetings, or we'll be working. I'm good at night. So what I'll do is, he ends up with tons of mails in the morning, but he wakes up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and then he's busy now answering all my messages that I've left in the evening. So what we've got to do is look at, where are we the most productive, and use that time effectively. We're not all the same in that way. and then we're going to also, we need to look closely at the interruptions. And I think that's the most difficult thing. I know working remotely and working at home, that's been a big challenge for me, because all of a sudden I walk past the kitchen, I think, oh, I haven't washed dishes yet, or oh, I haven't done some stuff yet. And I've had to learn to close my office door and say, I'm in office now, office mode. Or everybody wants to come and chat to me. Or my husband works at home as well, so now he wants to come and chat to me as well. So how do I make those moments and those interruptions? How do I work with them? And I'm going to hopefully give you some tips just now on that. The two parts I want to work with now is what we call traction and distraction. Those are the two big parts of working with our time management effectively. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. So the action, that is all the bits and pieces that we do in the day. That's the action of the day, okay? On either side of the action, we have either distraction, which is taking us away and moving us from what we really want, moving us away from maybe being successful, maybe those distractions of, how much time we're spending on our phone, and every time it pings, I'm ready to answer, etc. What is distracting me? On the other side is what we call traction. It's moving forward. It's looking at what are those things that are going to make me successful. And I want to make sure that within the traction side, that is what I'm developing. Okay. But on both sides, both distraction and traction, I have triggers. So this is quite important. I have both internal and external triggers. So internal triggers, like as a salesperson, is an internal trigger is things like my self-talk. Oh, I've got to make a phone call now. So I distract myself. That's the thing. I distract myself now because now I'm fearful of that call. Okay. Traction says, no, let's move forward. How do I sort that self-talk out? So now I'm going to sit and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to waste time and do it later. Okay. So that's the difference between. So the internal trigger is what I have control of and what I can change. The external triggers are things like the emails that are bombarding us, people coming in to interrupt us all the time. Those are the external. Those are things that often I don't have control over, all the things that are being thrown at me. But the internal triggers is what I have control. Those are the things, those are the voices, those are the things that I need to I've got the control of to be able to work through. So let's just look at what my time management course really looks at. Is number one is about mastering those internal triggers. As I said, those voices, those type of things that don't, if it's a hard task, then I have this whole internal talk. If I look at the external triggers, how can I hack back? Meaning, how do I make sure that all these little external things, how do I work past them? How do I make sure that I have those focus moments that I can actually focus on tasks that I need to do? Okay. And then it says prevent distractions, which is quite a difficult one because we are distracted easily. And I'm hoping I'm going to show you a few tricks there. And then make time for traction. And again, that is the things that may help us be successful. Now, I want to tell you a little story in that it was about these internal triggers. So there's just a thing they did where they had a look at two different scenarios, and they took two lots of hostesses, okay, cabin crew. And the one cabin crew was only flying a 3-hour flight. The other cabin crew was flying a 10-hour flight. Now, what they did was they took the smokers on those two. All right. So they said, okay, what we want to do is we want to look at how are things triggered. Is it the nicotine that makes me want to smoke? Okay. Or what is it that causes this, that I have that craving? So what they looked at is they said, okay, so you on the 3-hour, you on the 10-hour, what you need to do is you need to, on that flight, at certain places, I want you to tell me when you crave the most. Okay, so they went on this flight. Now, what was really, really interesting is they looked at where the cravings were, and most of the craving of these people was not now halfway through the flight, Because now you would think if it's nicotine's the only thing that's driving it, maybe within the first hour everybody was craving, but they were all craving at different times. And what they discovered was the biggest craving came at nearly the end of the flight. So the people going 3 hours and 10 hours only craved the last half an hour of the flight, because your brain switches in and says, okay, it's that end part. Now, you know, when you're traveling, and I went to China just a little while ago, that end hour of the flight is absolutely the worst. You've been traveling 10 hours, but that last hour is the biggest struggle. Okay. And this was a very interesting thing that they were talking about. So it appeared there that actually the desire for the cigarette didn't come by how much time had passed. It was about how much time is still to go. And that was quite interesting. The second thing is about how do I now, it's not about, and I mean, most of us have said, oh, we're going to lose weight and we go on these diets. And then we say to ourselves, we can't have, and immediately the body says, but I want. Okay, so what they said was, what is important is actually recognizing and accepting the craving, not just saying, oh, well, I'm not going to do it, but what is that thing what is the craving? And allowing the individual then to address them in a healthier way. And that's what I want to just show you as well. So it's about looking at the urge, it's about stepping back and then looking at and observing that feeling that comes up and when. Okay, and then to let the desire fade. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking in that. And that was a simple thing of how many of us have our phones, and the minute it pings, we're ready to respond. Okay, an email comes in, and I am the world's worst. I battle to switch emails off and just do a task. So what I tend to do is then I'm focusing. So every time an email comes in, I then answer, and then I have to get back to what I'm doing. Okay, so it's that where the whole time I'm distracted and I'm looking for that. I think it's they're talking about that instant gratification as well. So there's tools that we can use, and that's what I want to talk to today. So what they say here is, but why was it not simply but why not simply fight our urges? Why not just say no? Now, I want you to, I'm going to just give you a few minutes to think about that. Why is it so difficult for us to just not say no? Okay, so think about certain cravings. Again, I'm going to just use the diet one, it's the easiest one. But remember now, they talk about this whole thing with the polar bear. If I tell you not to think about a polar bear, what happens? I'm going to think about a polar bear, because that seed's been put there. Now, what I want to show you today, there is an incredible tool, and this tool has changed the way I do things as well, because as I said to you, I'm one that now I can't stand when emails aren't answered. And the whole thing is it says there, while we cannot control the feelings and thoughts that pop into our head, we can control what we do with them. Okay, so I'm going to show you this technique now, and I want you to, if you would like to ask me a question or come in here and maybe put your bit's worth to it as well. But it's called surfing the urge. Now, I love this. Since I've learned this, I think it's just such an amazing tool. What it does is it says, if I get that ping, or if I now want to answer something, etc., I need to wait 10 minutes. So I'm going to say, no, I can still do it. So I'm not telling myself no, because then now all of a sudden, all you're thinking about is doing this task or quickly looking on who's sending me a message. And what they say is, if you can give it 10 minutes and say to yourself, no, that's fine, I will respond in 10 minutes, or I will look at that in 10 minutes, I will look at Facebook in 10 minutes, whatever. Okay. What it does is it still gives you permission to still do it, but not right now. A lot of the time, by the end of the 10 minutes, you've either started doing something else, you're into the zone of what you're doing, or otherwise you've actually forgotten. As you get older, you forget quite easily. But what we do is this 10-minute rule has changed the way I do things, because all of a sudden I'm not telling myself I can't. I'm saying that's okay, but I'll do it in 10 minutes. And it's amazing how often that urge or anything like that actually disappears over time. I want you to really try this and just put it on the back burner for now. But I really want you to think about how you can use this going forward, okay, with some of the other techniques. But this is my first technique, is using the surfing the urge, which is the 10-minute rule. You don't have to do it right now, but give yourself permission that within 10 minutes I can do it. A lot of the time as well, my food cravings or some coffee craving or whatever, by the 10 minutes I thought, oh, I couldn't be bothered now. But just try it. It's very, very interesting because it keeps you focused on what I'm doing now. You're not defocusing and having to come back. So I hope that, a thumbs up if you think that is a good tool, and you're going to try it, because that to me has changed the way that I do things. Anybody want to ask a question at this point, or are you happy with this? Okay, it's a really, really good technique to use. So I'm hoping you'll just write that down for this week and tell me, you could give us some feedback if this works. The next part of why with time management, this is why I said to you, I'm not teaching you how to put a to-do list. That's not what I'm doing. What I want to say is, when we're making time for traction, it's about what is important in my life. Now, there's 3 parts of our life domain. The first one is me, you. The second one's relationships, and the third one's work. Now, the problem is we put a lot of emphasis into one of those, and that's work a lot of the time. We don't put enough emphasis into the you and into relationships. A lot of the time, husbands, wives, kids, family, etc., get the bits and the end parts of my time. Okay? So what I want you to do, and this is going to be just a little bit of homework because we only have an hour now. Normally in a time management course, I have a longer time. But what I want you to do is, and if you're making notes, just draw 3 circles. And I want you to think about it this evening when you're at home. What is important to me? Things like exercise, maybe to do a hobby, etc. I love to walk. So every morning, that's in my schedule for a walk. Exercise, anything like that, whatever the exercise is that you like. Or that moment where it's just a bit of meditation, reading, anything that is about, that builds you. And I want you to write in there the you part, what's important to you. The second part is going to be, I actually want them swept around, relationships. What is important in relationships? The time with my kids. And now, I mean, a few of you that I've trained as well know that my daughter's now in China. That time went so quickly from when she was a baby to that her move. And now I think back and I think, if only I had spent more time with her, if only I had been able to do more with her. I mean, I have just seen her, and we talk a lot, but those moments with your kids, with your family are fleeting. So what is important within relationships, friendships even, etc. So it's not just relationships, it's also friendships, and any form of relationship or that's important to you. I want you to write that into that circle. The third one is what's important in work. Is it about you getting the next promotion, earning more, whatever, the commissions, etc. But the 3 things, or the 3 circles of your life, is made up of those 3 things. What's important for your development in those 3? Okay? And then once you've got that, we need to put out, I needs to see it. And once I've done that, you'll see how it forms into the going forward. But that's what I'd like to give you for homework for tonight, is just what is important to me in those 3 areas of my life. So you can see there, it talks about the you, okay? It's about scheduling time with you. And I know that sounds weird, but how often we're the ones that get the worst part of my time? Okay, so things like, what are the hobbies? I'm a very creative person, and I've started just doing, okay, it's partly a glass of wine as well, which is quite cool. But once a month I go and I do an art lesson at one of our wine farms in Pletia. And for me, that's important that I'm scheduling that time. That time is just for me, okay? Or my walks in the morning with my little puppy. things like that. So what is important to me? I need to schedule that time. I need to show up, and I need to make sure. And the one thing that I found the toughest is the person that I say no to the most, or that I'll reschedule, is for me. So things that are important to me, I reschedule the quickest. And so what I want you to look at is, what are those things that I'm going to put on my list that it's not a non-negotiable. Now I know things come up, but what are those non-negotiables? The kids know I come home, this is my time. I need just 10 minutes to think. Some people like to cook. I wish I was like that, but all these type of things. So what is important to you? All right, and remember, input is much more certain than outcome. What I'm putting in, and I think we're discovering that, as you get older as well, you haven't looked after yourself, you feel it later. And these are important things for us to do. What are those relationships? What is the time with people that we love, our relationships, etc.? Are we scheduling time with that? And then the last is about work. And I want to just say, this is not being selfish, but you know what? Sometimes we need to learn to say no. That is a problem I have as well. And Sean knows this. Anything that everybody gives me, I tend to, I don't say no very easily. But it's also not about just saying no for the sake of saying no. Okay? It's also being honest with the person. And I think that's the thing we really struggle with, is being honest with somebody to say, listen, I cannot do that right now, and just give a reason. And also, I can't do it right now, but can I do it at another time? So I'm not going to go through all of these, but it's so important that we also protect our time at work, because otherwise what we're doing is we're doing everybody's work, we're doing all these things, and then by this evening there's no time. Now we're working, we're doing our stuff. So very, very important to say no. This is something I'm not going to go into big here, but when we're looking at triggers, we talk in a bit of a bigger detail into the fog behavior method, and he talks about changing behavior and changing habits, and how it needs to have a trigger in order for you to actually change a behavior. Now, this is why I wanted to show you this, is we need a trigger. Now, as I said to you, my biggest concern has been, I'm working in the office, my husband works at home, he's having a quieter moment, he decides, you know what, let's go for lunch, and then I'm feeling bad because I haven't spent time with him, so now we go off, and I haven't really put the boundaries there to say, listen, I can't do it right now, or I need to because that's important to me. So what we learned was there's two different things with this whole thing of working remotely and in the office, is having a very, very clear distinction of when there's focus time. Now, in this book that I was reading, he was saying his wife now works at home as well, and they both work from home. So she bought herself a crown with lights in it. When that crown is lit up, it means that it's her focus time. And then what she did was, everybody knew, kids, husband, everybody knew that's her focus time, not to disturb. Okay. In a work environment, it's the same thing. And we often will say, my boss, doesn't allow me to focus. And this is a thing that we do need to say to people. Listen, I need to focus. And how are you going to know I'm focusing? And it's not the whole day. So you can't have that crown on the whole day. You're going to run out of batteries. What you can do is just have those moments, but have something at work. And we discussed it within one of the training sessions, that they would have a red flag. If that red flag was up, okay, I don't know if they used it, but if that red flag was up, that was focus time. If the red flag was down, yes, you can interrupt me. If it's urgent, no problem, you can come, and then we can negotiate if it's worth me. But I found these methods are not just for the other person to know it's focus time, it's for me to know it's focus time. And sometimes then I say, okay, well, I've got my focus time thing up, my whatever I've chosen. Then that tells my brain I'm in focus time, okay, as much as it tells everybody else, because I think that's a lot of the time the problem we have, is that we get distracted so easily. So if we have those times, and we actually just telling ourselves as well that is focus time. Okay, so try that. Think of your team. Say, listen, we learned this in time management. I'm going to use this as my focus time. Now, a big thing that again, I have said it a few times, is my email and switching off my email. And I'm having to learn that when it's my focus time, my email gets switched off and all of that. And I'm going to show you a tool that we can use for that. But I have to make sure that for me, that I make sure that my brain knows this is focus time as well. Okay, it's not just for everybody else. So just think of things. Maybe we can chat about it at the end of the session as well. Maybe if you've thought of some good ideas, I'd love to know, because it does help as well, maybe for us as well, that we also, if you've got some good ideas, maybe we can use them. Okay, I'm going to look at just a few tools quickly within the next half an hour here. And the first part is about email. Okay, now the thing with email is often we just have this influx of email, and it's on our mind. Okay, we've got this email from somebody. Now, what I'd like you to do, it's not always just about putting and saying, oh, I need to follow it up, etc. What I want you to do is called email tag. Now, email tag only works with that. All you've got to specify when this email comes in, you've got to say, do I need to do it today, tomorrow, or what particular day? You know what this does is, what it does is, number one, it's prioritizing your time, your emails, but it also gets it out of your mind. And I think that's the important thing, is it actually helps you with the distraction, and it actually, okay, now I only need to do that tomorrow. It doesn't need to be today. So the first thing with emails is make sure you prioritize it in when does it need to be completed or done. Okay, and then it's out of mind. Also, be ruthless when you need to delete it. Now, the new to do in and I really, if you're not on the new Outlook, you need to look at the new Outlook. I love the new to do, where how it connects with your email, because you can actually drag an email into your to do, and you can actually delete it as an email, because it's maybe just something you've got to do. You don't have to respond on it. So look at some of the options that to do does with your emails as well. It also will show you all the flagged emails, etc. And I used to do a lot with my emails now, but it's really just shows you all of the flagged options and structures it so beautifully, so that it's so much easier to work with. Okay, so but be ruthless with, is it a necessary thing? Do I need to delete it? By when does it need to be done? And it just frees up so much of your time. Okay, and this is what I'm saying. So doing that, it frees up those distractions, because now I know I only need to do it tomorrow. And then schedule time. You can see that it says schedule time each day dedicated to responding to emails. Don't like me, okay? And this is what I had to learn. I don't need to be sending email as it comes in, go out, okay? I promise your customer, I know that we think as salespeople, it cannot wait. Now, I'm not saying let it wait the whole day. I'm saying at least for an hour, if you're needing to do some proposals, quotes, anything out, getting back to customers, etc., have some focus time during the day that says, at this time, I'm going to switch off everything and I'm going to be focusing. And that is why what makes it important then you've got time to, okay, now I'm going to work through all my emails, and now I'm going to start tagging them in and out. Okay. And then weekly, that's always easy, because especially we're working with customers all the time, we do need to, and I do understand we need to get our emails out there. I think the tagging is important, what needs to be done now, later, tomorrow, etc. Watch that cell phone as well, with all the pings that come through. That was my worst. Every time I hear a ping, I want to go and look at it. Get rid of the apps that you don't use. Make it minimal. Make sure that you're not getting all of the notifications coming through all the time. They're distracting. And the minute there's a ping, I'm distracted. Okay? So make sure that those things are set off. And again, what is important in my day? Because you must remember, you're getting paid commission, etc. So the value of my time needs to go into productive things that are actually making me money. So am I needing to get back to customers? Am I cold calling? How do I structure it? There's also a tool, and you can just go and Google it. I don't have big time right now to go through it, but there's a focus tool on Windows itself that you can actually say, I'm going to focus, and you just click on the focus tool. It's in systems, And what you do is it actually switches off all email, any prompts, anything that will distract you at that time. And this is a really, really handy tool on your computer. And what it does is it actually will, you turn it on and it will actually turn all notifications off, emails, etc. And it comes up with this little picture, and it will actually work through your time. You can actually see, oh, okay, I've still got half an hour or whatever. And you can actually set it also, where do you want a break? So halfway through, you just want to quickly have a break, which is also good, because then you stand up, stretch, whatever, and then sit. But using the focus assist, you can just search on it and bring it up, and it really is a nice tool for your focus time, for that time where you're saying you need to focus. The big thing is about owning your schedule, okay? And that's what I want to look at right now, is how do I own the schedule? Because the thing is, if I'm just using tasks as just a list, etc., and I'm not putting things into my schedule, that is where I lose the time. So we're going to make sure that we look at all three of those circles, and then we're going to schedule the time in. Now, I want you to just write this name down, Mark Hunter. He gives amazing tools, and he does a lot of sort of time management and all sorts of sales talks on YouTube. Just go and Google him on YouTube, and he did this clip on the different things, and I've just taken the ones that I feel important for today. But he talks about owning. It says there, take your own time management skills to the next level. And it's about owning your time. And these are the tips that he gives. And just write down his name and go and look at some of his clips. Number one is taking 15 minutes on a Sunday evening. Because on a Monday, now we go in and we still got to schedule, and we're still having coffee, and we're still doing, and we've already wasted some time. Either if you wake up very early, like Tim does, you could do it on a Monday morning early. If you're like me, I'd rather do it in the evening, and then I'm ready for the day. But plan the week. So the 15 minutes before is just planning my week. Okay, this is where I'm going to schedule time for lead generating. This is when I'm going to schedule time for getting back to customers, etc. However what is important for your day. The next thing is drive the week. So don't let the week drive you. You drive the week and schedule. You divide your week, and this is again, I'm not going to dictate this, because it says you divide your week into thirds. It just means, what are the things that you're working with? So is it lead generating? What is where your money spinners are? So is it lead generating, getting back to customers because you're account managers? What is it that you need to be working with? Okay, be ruthless with your routine, which I'm going to talk into now. But this one I want to just stop 2 minutes with, is the 10 a.m. rule. And this puts pressure on me, and it's a good pressure. I like the pressure, because sometimes what I did was I would say, okay, you know what, got the morning, and I would mess around a little bit, or I'm reading emails, I'm doing things, and then the time's just gone. The 10 a.m. rule says I've got to have achieved or accomplished one major task by 10 o'clock. And it puts a bit of pressure on me. But you know what? You know how good you feel by the 10 o'clock if you've achieved something? You're ready to achieve the rest of the day. And the problem is, a lot of what we do is we will put the tough tasks for later. And then later, then you've got everything happening. So what he's saying is, before 10 o'clock, make sure you've done one big tough task, or something that you keep putting off, because it makes you just feel like you can accomplish more through the day. Another good tip to write down there. And what I do is I put an alarm on my cell phone, and at 10 o'clock, and then I think, oh dear, 10 o'clock's coming. What have I accomplished? And it just puts that little bit of pressure on. Then it says, and this is an interesting one. He talks about use Monday mornings and Friday afternoons, because you know how often we think, oh, well, there's nobody around Friday afternoon, and we go home early. Do you know how many people think that? And the best time to try and contact people is actually Friday afternoons. Yes, maybe they're on the golf course, depending where you are, but a lot of the time, actually, not many people are contacting them on a Friday afternoon. And he says Monday mornings, because a lot of people are planning their day. You've already planned your day. Monday mornings and Friday afternoons are the best time to really be getting into customers, okay, and setting up your meetings, etc. And as I say, the Friday afternoons, we think that people that a lot of people think that they don't have time, but Friday afternoon, use it wisely, because that is actually where you can be the most productive, because a lot of people have already now we're ready for the weekend. So that was a really handy tool as well. Tomorrow begins today. Before you end the day, before you go home, or however you work, is going through what is it that I need to do tomorrow. So Sunday is the week plan, but if I'm now by the end of today, I say, okay, what did I accomplish today? What have I put off? What do I need to put onto tomorrow's schedule? And I schedule my day. Okay. I want to get to the schedule. And this one I love. Seek to improve 1%. Is it something I need to read? Is it something I need to find? Is it something I need to learn? 1%. What is the one thing I'm going to learn this week? Okay. So those are really, really interesting tips. And as I said, go and Google Mark Hunter. He's got a lot of good tips for us. Working with schedule, I'm running out a bit of time, so I want to really look at this. Step 1 is, before you even start, schedule your personal time. Okay, so make sure that that time for exercise, work, hobbies, all of that, relationship time, etc., that you schedule that before even your work time. Because what often happens is the time gets away with you. Because we don't schedule it, it's not set up in there. So we're going to first look at those our personal things that that are non-negotiables. Maybe, as I said, exercise, the walk in the morning, or just the simple things. I'm going to take this time to have my coffee and learn something, or read something, or plan, or something. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to plan. And then we're going to look at our non-negotiables. So there is a clip that, if you would like me to, we're not going to have time to watch now, but it's with Simon, and he talks about his schedule and how, if it's in his schedule, so say for instance he's got gym, and every day he's got a specific time, or every second day he's got a specific time for gym. What he does is, he says, if somebody says to him, are you available at that time, he can say, no, there's something in my calendar. Even though it's something personal, he says he's really become quite protective over these moments of the gym, etc., because of the way he works. He says if it's critical, he will move it. But things like on a Friday, now this is something we've got to learn within our industry, because we write so much material, that on a Friday afternoon or Friday the whole day, we don't schedule training, we don't schedule meetings, we don't schedule anything like that. That is our time for research and actually doing material writing. And sometimes that's those non-negotiables. What I don't want to move. Okay, so make sure that you've got those things written down. What are non-negotiables? And then be consistent. Okay, that's quite important. We don't let things keep falling through the cracks. I'm going to send, because we will have everybody that attended, I'm going to send you this clip rather, because we don't have big amounts of time now. And I'd like to have some time for questions and that as well. But I will send you this clip of Simon about his schedule, because it's really such good tips of making sure that things are scheduled in, and use your schedule well.
Believe it.
So once I've got this, and I've decided what's important in my daily life, what's important, non-negotiables, I take my schedule, and it can be on Outlook. I take my schedule and I start blocking time. So that's what the Sunday is there for. Okay, what are the times that are important to me? What is my family time? What is the times that I need for what? So you're going to straight away go and block those times out before you even start worrying about the work. And I really challenge you to do this. Okay, you start blocking time for you. The next thing is what are the tasks? So what are those things that I need to do? You've got the to do in Outlook, which is great. It integrates into your calendar as well. What are those things? And then I start categorizing. So you can see there, I've got the task. I've got the categorize in, is it of importance? What is it? Is it something that can wait, etc.? And then I put the deadline. Okay. But I then put it into the task again. So high priority gets put. So I take that calendar again. I put what's the personal important to me in the personal and relationship. Now in the work, what are those things that are high schedule? So those are things where I'm cold calling. It's very important before 10. Maybe we use the 10 a.m. rule on a Monday and a Wednesday or whatever day is best. Those are the times where I'm going to make sure that I do my cold calling, etc. So look also at when do you have the most energy as well. But don't keep putting things off. Schedule it. Make sure it's in your schedule. Make sure you use that 10 a.m. Rule as well. And the one about the surfing the urge, because at least then if something comes up, you can say it can wait. Okay. And then also look at what are those high income tasks that need to take priority within your schedule. And I think that's the important thing. We tend to then just put, and I hate to-do lists, because that's what we tend to do. We just make a list of all these things we've got to do, and then we don't know what comes first, what's important. When I'm looking at my schedule, I'm looking, okay, so what are those things, those high, the high producing activities that need to take preference? Okay. And then I batch them together. All right. So that is really important with scheduling, but the schedule, it's just so important to get it onto the calendar, and I can see it. Those focus times, how can I make sure that I've got those focus times even booked? Okay. And as I said, we play so many roles. I have to be booking my schedule and saying, listen, this is my time for finance. This is my time for operations. This is my time for training and writing new material, etc. So it's really, really use your schedule well. And not only for things that are work related. And then on a daily basis, revise. End of the day reflection. Has my day gone well? Where have I wasted time? Where can I change it? What has worked well? Okay. And then also what has been ticked off. And I think that's also nice when you can actually see, oh, that worked well. I did those big tasks. That was, we've been able to do. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go through everything, but those are just some of the stuff that you can just on a day-to-day basis, you can go and you can just review what your day was, your week was, etc. And it's very important to look back. How did I waste time today? How tomorrow I'm not going to fall into the same things. And then just the last, and then I'm going to open for some questions, is just avoid time wasters. Now, if we're scheduling in, and I'm not saying, please, I'm not saying that you never have free time. Please schedule that in. It's actually important to have free time. Schedule it in. Schedule those weekends away, the days away, the times away, etc. It's so important. So the first thing is limit the social media. We know that. One of the biggest time wasters. Okay. Manage emails efficiently. We've spoken about that. Schedule out tasks. Avoid multitasking. That's why having focus time is so important, is that you're not just doing lots of things and defocusing the whole time, because we're actually not really multitaskers, to be honest. Set boundaries. What is non-negotiables? What are those things that are important to you? Set those boundaries. Use technology, and that's just for saving time, etc. Delegate when you can, and take breaks. So important. Please, that's why scheduling the time isn't about just putting more and more into your schedule. It's actually blocking out time, and that my eye can see it's time for a break. It's time for me time. It's time for focus time, etc. Because we tend to just let the day go with us. And remember, your time is valuable. We've already looked at it right in the beginning. The very, very first slide is looking at the value of your time. We don't want to end up and just say, where's the time gone? We need to make sure that we're using our time effectively. Okay, I've tried to cram a lot into an hour. We do have a course that we run on time management. It's a longer course. It's a whole day course, or it's over so many hours. So sorry, I try to cram quite a lot. I can give you a lot of value here. But I want to just open it to any questions, anything that you feel, sure, that was interesting and my take home, because that's always nice to hear as well. Thanks, Jean.
Tracy, well done you. Thank you for all of that. I noticed that you were pushing really, really hard to cover a lot of stuff very quickly. And I think you actually used up your time very, very well, just for the record. You said. What I take away from this is the reflect and adjust. So we're always running 19 to the dozen to try and keep up. And sales burnout is a big thing, right? Because we've got so much to do in so little time. We're responsible for so many things. Salespeople are starting to burn out. I don't know if you guys are feeling it in your lives. And if you don't get a structure and you don't get something sorted out, like Tracy's suggesting, I think that can really hurt you. Any comments from anybody? Anybody want to say anything? Please feel free. The mic's open now. You can say anything you like.
Any take homes, anything that you feel like, sure, that really stood out? Because I think that 10-minute thing for me was quite an eye-opener as well.
I love that one. I love that. You know, I'm a smoker, right, Trace?
I know. Why do you think I smiled?
I love that one. And the 10 a.m. one also. Yeah. That makes sense.
Powerful.
Do you remember that video about if you want to succeed in life, the first thing in the morning is to make your bed?
Yes.
Yes. That came to mind immediately. So at least you've done something and you've done it well. Anybody seen that email? If you've been on training with me or Tracy, at some point you've seen it.
But listen, really do yourself a favor and just, I'm actually going to just put it here again for those people that came on late, but just really do yourself a favor and just go and look at that value of your time. It's such an interesting concept because it really just makes you look and say, sure, that's actually so important. And so, yeah, great. Thank you. Definitely.
All right. A win before 10 a.m. is something we're trying to do. I like that one. Who did that come up? Oh, that's from Bevan. Well done, Bevan.
Yeah, he was on. Yeah, Bevan was on our time management course.
Oh, was he? There you go.
Yeah. Hey, Bevan.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. I want to remind you that if you're in the business of sales, just like a doctor reads up on stuff and keeps himself current or herself current, I would urge you to take an interest in this in your career. And please keep learning. You know me, I'm an old man already. I used to be young and sexy. Now I'm just sexy. Thank you so much for that. That's always nice to have a laugh.
Sorry, I wanted to ask. I used the example with your company as well about the flags. Did you ever implement that?
Yeah, we I must say I did. I don't know that I've continued. Well, I haven't, but we certainly did try it. Just to reiterate that Sean and I, like every morning we regroup at 10 o'clock and we talk about our wins or the fact that we didn't, but we definitely do try and get a win before 10 a.m. and it helps a lot.
Thanks. That's a good one. Thanks, Bevan.
Guys, keep learning. Keep spending time on find time in your diary and in your schedule to keep learning about the industry that you're in.
And to have fun.
Oh yeah, heck yes.
we don't schedule fun. Jean, the next session
is on the 18th of June. We don't have a title yet. We've got about 8 various ones that I'm all excited about delivering. So we're going to have to sit down, Yumi and Tim, and decide which one is going to happen next. But it is on the 18th of June. The invite should go out within the next week and a half. I look forward to seeing you all there again. Keep learning, and yeah, talk to you all soon.
Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Again. Say again?
Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Indeed.
Super, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
That was really great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Just.
Bye.
Bye.
Just. No, I'm still on mic.